Hello there, bearded burbler from down there. Today I'm standing at the boat ramp in Longford. Now you might wonder what the significance of that is. Well, for those that have a bit of a bent for motor racing history, Longford was once the site of a wonderful racetrack, a road racing circuit that really was one of the best in the world. I didn't know that until recently, and I've uncovered a little bit of history here which is quite amazing. For example, behind me is the remnants of a bridge, which I will zero in on shortly. And that remnant of that bridge is all that's left of the bridge that used to span the South Esk River behind me here. That was part of the racetrack. Let's go investigate. Situated in the historic town of Longford, only a short drive from Launceston, is a well-kept secret. Once upon a time, in this little town, there was a world-class open road racing circuit known as the Longford Circuit. It only operated for 15 years, from 1953 to 1968, and what you see here are the remnants of one of the two bridges that were part of that circuit. This one was the King's Bridge, in what is now the reserve on the far side of the levee wall, and the boat ramp for Longford crossing the South Esk River. Interestingly enough, these sad wooden remnants are all that remain of that great looking old bridge, and that really is quite historic. That's what it looked like in its heyday, and back in the day the race cars used to thunder across that bridge and up into town via this road. Also part of that track is the railway viaduct, a famous brick viaduct, and the race cars used to thunder under that. When it was built, of course there was no racing, but look at that, isn't that impressive? Now, it's a beautiful remnant of its era. The Country Club Hotel in Longford represented one of the corners on the racetrack, and the cars would race straight past the front of it. In those days it was white, but one of the more recent owners of the pub actually sandblasted all the bricks back to their bare finish. But inside that hotel you will find an amazing treasure trove of information associated with the old raceway. Here's where a car crashed into the wall back in the day. And inside, Lex Davison memorabilia is everywhere. He's the man who crashed his Cooper Climax into the wall. But there are many, many, many things that you can see in here dedicated to the many drivers who competed over those 15 years. And it was quite a hallowed track. It was quite a challenging track, and it was one of the finest open road circuits in the world by all accounts. Sitting here looking back on that history, you can wonder whatever happened to it. Well, it all closed in 1968, but the memory lingers on for those of a motor racing bent. Just out of town at a place called Tannery Road, one can see the remnants of part of that old track, and that's the section which led on to what used to be called the Long Bridge, and this is what it looks like today. It's probably hard to imagine it, but what you see behind me here is Tannery Road, and that was actually part of the Longford racing circuit once upon a time. It's now largely landlocked and separated from the rest of the road network, but it is still here, and this is the road on which people used to race back in 1968. A lot has changed since 1968, but this little part still remains as it was. More to see and do out in what we like to call the 2 hour circle. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.